Nope.
Yeah.
What is up, guys? Hit Stick Podcast. Before we get into it, we're going to go ahead and broadcast the end of this game right here against the Tennessee Titans with Brian and the Houston Texans with Boone. With me, I have Brent here. Brent, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Exciting day. We get to watch the end of this game, kind of commentate it, and then right after this finishes, we're going to jump onto the hit stick thing. So,
absolutely. And with us, commentating but not knowing he's commentating, is ironically Boone, because Boone loves to talk about his games. We have
let's go.
Gets a little excited there. DeCiccio rolls right, misses the pass there. Brings up 4th and 5 from Boone's 43.
Yeah, what do you think? I mean, I'd go for it if I was him, for sure. Getting late in the game.
Absolutely.
Boone's got an explosive offense.
It depends too. It depends if I've already used my 40 or my going for it on 4th across the 50, then I might. Then I probably would, but
right.
This is
I mean,
make
of course,
or break at this point.
Follow league rules, but I haven't watched the whole game, right? So I'm just assuming he has it left.
Yeah, definitely got to save it. And I believe Bell caught that.
Yeah, he did. Great catch there, man. What precision to bring that in, especially getting hit like that too. Whew, nice catch.
And Coach Boone is not happy. You can hear him from here. He's screaming at the ref.
I can imagine. I kind of wish I could hear him because I gotta have him turned off so I can hear you guys and stuff. But I'm definitely gonna watch this after and hear about it.
Yeah. There's no fucking offense. I keep letting this bum get shit off, man.
He's a little bit frustrated right now, calling Le'Veon Bell a bum. That's pretty bold words, don't you think?
Yeah, I didn't hear it, so I can only imagine what he said, but I'll refrain.
All right.
I already told you, bro. You have nothing but Le'Veon.
All right. Brings up 2nd and 9 from the Houston 19. Tennessee's driving with 3 minutes left in the 4th. We're looking to go towards a really big finish here. Because if he goes for it and goes for 2, Boone could drive back down and get 3 points, and we're headed to overtime.
Yeah.
And he's sacked.
Come on, Davenport, let's get it.
Marcus Davenport. They, I mean, that's who they traded Deshaun Watson for. So, people were making fun of him, but if you see, he had 2 sacks there, and he had multiple sacks in the game against the Cowboys to get into here as well. So it's paying off for him. Absolutely.
You have to have big playmakers like him that can get stuff for you on defense. And that brings up 3rd and 11 on their own 20. So is it 4-down territory again, though? I don't think he's...
Has to be 4-down territory because Boone has a potent offense. You're not going to get the ball back if you punt this way. He'll get a 1st down for sure.
I hear you.
Wow.
Nice play there. Makes a check at the line. Takes the snap, looking deep. Oh, caught by McCaffrey in the slot for the touchdown.
Yeah. Beautiful catch by him. Look at that. So the 2 big catches here at the end, both made by running backs.
Yeah.
How wild is that?
And both are very good. See, and that's the biggest thing with Brian is if you can shut down his run game, which is wildly unlikely, but he's just got so many ways he can attack you with his halfbacks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And very expectedly, he's going for 2. DeCiccio takes the snap, looking. He's just kind of rolling. Fires wide open back of the end zone for the 2 points.
It's okay. We finna drive and get this done.
Tennessee 23, Houston
Give me the
20.
I'll take it down.
Here we go. We're going to get to see what we all wanted to see here.
Come on.
2-minute drive. Boone's offense. I can only imagine the commentary, too.
Oh, it's wild. It is. He was not thrilled about the previous few plays.
Guys, I'm gonna chime in real quick here. This could decide Zeke Harper's fate in Houston. This drive right here. Boone has been exploring other options for sure. If Harper makes plays here, he could still be the guy. If not, I could see him finding a fast exit out of Houston.
Yeah. And what kind of trade value do you think he could get for a guy like that? Nothing.
None. Not with the quarterbacks that are all posted on the block. This is a very average quarterback.
That's true, but if Boone's done, and again, I haven't kept up on his stats for the year, but if Boone's done good things, he could be a superstar by the end of this from the way Boone's been able to get guys going in the past.
He has 86 throw power.
Okay, yep, he's done.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Zeke takes the
clear.
snap and finds a
Because he
short
didn't jump
pass
off
to his
sides,
running
that's
back. Gets the first down and brings up 1st and 10 on the 45-yard line.
So here we go. I mean, what do you guys think? Let's get some predictions. I think Boone's going to go for a touchdown here. I think the Texans are moving on.
I'm not sure. That's a good question. I'll say that the Titans stop him here. I think that he doesn't get a touchdown. I think he only goes for 3, brings up overtime. And I say Brian wins it in overtime if they get there.
I'll tell you one thing.
There you go,
He is not kicking a field goal. There's
Yeah.
0% chance Boone is scoring or he's throwing a pick. There's
All right.
0 chance.
Oh, there it is.
Well, I will bet on
Yep, game time.
oof, game
my
over.
God, bro, that's such a bad
He's
call.
got 3
Game
timeouts
time.
though. He's got 3 timeouts.
Okay, yeah, he can, but it's hard to hold Le'Veon Bell to less than 10 yards on 3
That's
carries.
true. Well, McCaffrey too. He's got both guys.
Yeah.
The team is just jacked.
Let's
He's
see
got
here.
everything.
It's going to be a stretch play or toss right here to Le'Veon Bell.
Absolutely. You can see the
Yeah.
line shifting right.
Got us on right away.
And
Use
takes
that
right.
timeout,
It's a
Boone. What are you
toss.
doing?
Yep, sure enough. Great tackle outside by Cunningham.
I am confused why there's not a timeout being taken.
Me too. What is going on right now?
Oh, Boone.
Hammer
Boone
said
doesn't
it.
need a whole. He doesn't need a minute 20 seconds to score. He says, "Screw it. Give me that 45 seconds and a timeout."
Right
And
before
Boone,
the
Brian
right
here
before
should run down the clock, but it looks like
No, he is.
okay. I thought he was
Right.
motioning the tight end over, getting ready to snap. What were you saying, Nick?
right before Boone threw the INT, Hammer commented in the YouTube chat and said INT coming up. He said, "I know these teams too well."
Another toss going left to Bell this time.
That was a lot of time rolling off the clock there.
I don't get it, man. Why would you let 40 seconds come off the clock?
Yeah, because the first down, either way, you save a timeout, you get to first. It made no sense, but
No. I mean, I get I'm sure he wanted the timeout in case he has to call a field goal from
Yeah.
deep to try and move to overtime. But I just don't like it because you can move quicker than Brian can right now. So just make sure that you call the field goal early.
yeah, you get single back Le'Veon Bell in the backfield. It's looking off to the left. It's a stretch play, and he is going to get taken down for a gain of 2
No,
yards.
sir.
And we got a timeout, Houston.
That's safe shit.
we go.
Houston's going to get the
Come on, give me
football
the
here.
rock back.
Under a
Yeah.
minute to
I'll
go.
show you what to do.
It's not over. I mean, I'm telling you, I really hope Boone just scores a touchdown here because I do not want to see this go to overtime. If we got a show here.
That would be absolutely wild. And Hack
Oh.
gets the kickoff.
No.
It's taken in around the 10. Juked out.
Oh.
Beautiful little run. And goes down around the 20. Bringing up first and 10
good play.
on their own 20. With 37 seconds left. What's gonna happen here, Brent?
Post. Deep post. Probably. Oh, it's Devontre Doss. It's Devontre Doss is gonna get the post here, right between the safeties. He's going for a bit. Oh no.
Oh, you're ahead of us. Shoot.
Yeah, and he takes the snap. Going, and he's sacked.
Ooh,
That's
and
the
he's
last,
hurt.
and he's hurt. Zeke
Oh,
Harper is
Zeke.
hurt.
No,
Game
Zeke.
over.
Oh,
Who's
you
his-
ain't shit.
His
Doesn't
Who's his
backup,
backup?
Connor Champion, a 71 overall with 87 throw power.
Oh, he's got that +1 throw power, guys.
It's an upgrade.
Watch Campion come in and be the hero, and all of a sudden Harper gets the boot.
X. There you go.
And he's looking
Come on.
left. Oh, he's got some speed on him.
You better hurry
What
up,
a
Boone.
snag. I thought for
Hurry
sure
up,
that was
Boone.
picked.
He's got time for one play, and then he's gonna have to get the ball down on the ground after that play.
Definitely.
No. Yeah, I'm a little ahead of you guys.
Yeah, because it was just incomplete here.
Well, the incomplete
Shoulder
pass does help
tear.
him a bit. Oh, shoulder tear.
And he, call it a career, Zilizzy.
Fucking game now, goddamn.
I don't know if you can hear him, Nick. I know
I can
Brent
only
can.
imagine. what he
He
said.
is. There's a few. He's throwing out expletives like they're Christmas gifts,
Of course.
like candy on Halloween. It's good time.
Anything.
See, I don't get this call now. You guys are gonna see it in a second here.
Just did.
He's going with the verticals, which is fine
Yeah.
because you play, but you don't have a timeout, so you need to
Yeah,
get
you
him to
need-
the sideline.
Out of yep.
Corners and outs. Now he's running a good play for it. He's gonna have that
Yeah, the Y
Cootie on the
route.
slot. Yeah, Cootie on the slot's gonna.
Oh, he's going for it all.
He
See,
is.
yeah,
He wants it.
Oh, you had Y. Ooh.
I know, right?
Game over. Game.
Yep. And there's the game with the interception at the end of the game.
Put on your dancing shoes.
Out of bounds.
Okay, so
Well,
this is done.
And there we go. That's the end of that.
I'm gonna
your
advance this.
pie
You guys
and
can
eat it
introduce
too.
what we're gonna do here. Why I advance this league.
Sure. Let's go ahead and.
Service for just $40 a month.
So, guys,
with
are we ready,
unlimited
Reagan?
messages,
Do we have? I guess
minutes,
I
We
have.
are.
at speeds up to
You need
5
your
megabits
stream
per
up,
second.
Brent.
Yeah, I took it
This
down so that I
is
thought I
visible.
was lagging at the start because I was so ahead of you guys, and then I heard like
Oh.
choppy voices. So I did cut it, but I'll fire it back up right now.
All right, gentlemen. This was a good. It was good to see the end of that game. What we'll go ahead and do is we'll pull up this little waiting slide, and guys, we'll be right back with you in about 5 minutes. We'll be getting the Hit Stick podcast
No,
underway.
hey, I got it up right away. So I don't know how long it takes you to get it up there, but my Twitch is ready to go.
Okay, perfect. Looks like we're ready to go.
Yep, I'm logging onto Madden as we speak. So
Boone says in the YouTube chat, SMH, he don't deserve that win. Uh-oh.
Dun dun
Let's go.
dun.
Uh-oh. All right.
So, what we're gonna do here, guys, it's a little special. Me and Nick looked at doing this for 2 years, but it was just so hard because we always got our playoffs moving so fast, and we've always been involved in them. So it was kind of tough to do something. What we want to do is focus on all 32 teams. It's nice to hear about your own team, obviously. So we're gonna go over every single team. So everyone listen in, or at least listen to the part about your team, and we're gonna go over exactly what we think you guys should do in the off season if we were in your shoes to try and make your team better and try and make a Super Bowl run. So with that said, I'll let one of these boys take over, and
Let's
I
do
will
it.
finish getting into the franchise.
What division do we want to start with here?
Let's start with the AFC. A comes before N, so
All
I
right.
don't know, start with the North, I guess.
All right, I got the North. Beautiful.
So just let me know which team you want to start with here.
Go ahead and let's pull up the Bengals roster here.
Yeah. Working on it.
One of our newer users, very exciting user. Absolutely. Oh, my notes froze. Great. But regardless, the biggest thing with the Cincinnati Bengals is they have to figure out what the heck is going on at quarterback. They have Jameis Winston, Mitch Trubisky, Quinn Strickland. There's rumors that they are looking to take a rookie with the 4th overall pick. They have a bunch of trade. They have no idea what they're doing at quarterback. So we need to establish if one of these quarterbacks is the answer. I think out of the 3 that are on the roster now, Strickland would be the way to go because Trubisky and Winston are both 29 years old. I don't know. Have you guys looked at any of these quarterbacks or no?
Yeah, I mean, I got him up right now. I actually like Quinn Strickland. He's got 94 power, and all of his accuracies are above an 80, so I could use him. I'm not saying he'd be my favorite guy, but he's usable and worth the effort to develop.
24 years old. He did drop to normal dev, which hurts. Bad season. But I think a lot of it is he doesn't have any weapons on offense, which brings me to my number one need for this team is an offensive playmaker. Whether it's a running back or wide receiver, you need to go out and fill this void, whether it's through free agency or through the draft. You trade away John Ross. He didn't, but the previous owner traded away Mixon. It left him with Khalil Hughes, who had 75 catches this season, but he wasn't even over 1,000 yards. So, I mean, that's just it's a rough situation with a lot of checkdowns. No one to really take the top off the defense on this team. If we're talking what this team does well, they have 2 stud offensive tackles, Jerron Banks and Spencer Schultz, who he took in the top 5. But I mean, what it really comes down to is this team has a pass rush and not much else defensively when I'm looking at them. You got Daniil Hunter and Carl Lawson, who are both absolute studs on the edge. But I mean, it's just pretty rough for this team on defense. So I'm going to say they need some safety help. They got some old dudes at safety. They need some safety help. You pair them with William Jackson as your corner, and I think you could do. I think they could compete for this division as long as they start winning some games inside the division. Because I think he lost every game. He might beat the Steelers inside the division. Regan, you played him firsthand twice. How did he play you?
Yeah, man, he plays really well. I love Robert. Robert's one of those guys that, like you said, he does need to win some games in the division, but I give him probably next season. I think he'll get that up to about 500. Next season, he'll be competing to win every game in the division. Right now, his biggest issue is, like I said, trying to improve. But I will, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Against me, the first game it wasn't very close, and then the second one, it was like a completely different user. If he improves that much every single time we play, I love seeing that. I love seeing a guy that isn't content to take an L and be like, all right, whatever, I'll just tank. No, like he got worked actively to get better. So I think the biggest thing with him, like you said, is quarterback. My opinion in watching him play, Strickland misses passes. He just doesn't have the sauce. He doesn't have the ability to get what needs to be done. But Jameis Winston, ironically, I'm not a huge Jameis fan. I've said it in the chat. I was not a huge fan of him coming out of college, but he uses Jameis a lot better, in my opinion, than he uses Strickland. So that's just my take on it.
Here's the biggest issue. His number one receiver, Khalil Hughes, caught 3 touchdowns. One more than his right guard / right tackle, Brody Spriggs. That is an issue when you have receivers that are only catching 2 touchdown passes, and you got your right tackle, right guard making all sorts of plays in the red zone. So playmakers in that offense are a must. I'm sure he has some money to spend. I didn't get a chance to look at his cap situation, but I am sure he's going to have some money to throw around. I know he's been active in the trade chat, so it should be interesting to see if he sticks at 4, if he makes a couple moves. Who knows? Up, down, you never know. There's a lot of good quarterbacks on the board.
Just to jump in for 2 seconds, he has 36.5 million.
Oh, 36.5, yeah. So he can make some noise in free agency. Hopefully get some playmakers, because I think one of the quarterbacks on the roster could be the answer. But let's go ahead and move on here. Let's stick with the AFC North, and we'll just go to the Cleveland Browns. We'll just hammer out the AFC North real quick. But this Cleveland Browns team has not hit their potential yet. They've missed the playoffs twice. I think they've been just a game out of the wild card both the last 2 seasons. And it really all comes down to Baker Mayfield not taking care of the football. He threw 35 interceptions this year. And as great as a secondary as this team has, Denzel Ward, Jabril Peppers, a bunch of these studs, if your defense is forcing, a top 5 amount of interceptions, it doesn't help when your quarterback's giving it right back. It kind of takes away your advantage when your turnover differential is almost negative. So I think one big thing he started to figure out towards the end of the year was how to get Alvin Kamara involved. He had 944 yards and 14 scores this year, as well as 500 yards through the air. I mean, if he can make Kamara the focal point of his offense and take some pressure off Baker Mayfield, his team would have a lot more success, because you're not throwing the football, you're not going to throw as many picks. Solid wide receiver core, Jarvis Landry, Callaway, and then Cortland Sutton. All guys that are not quite number 1 receivers, but any of those 3 could emerge as the legit number 1 for the future. And then his biggest strength is going to be that loaded secondary, and then Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett and Emmanuel Ogbah just wreak havoc in that backfield. And it helps when you're hurrying a passer up and he's got to throw it quickly and you have a loaded secondary back there. So I think the Browns are kind of set where they're at. It just all comes down to decision making, and that, it's easier said than done, but I don't know. And Jarvis, I think Jarvis is a free agent, which could be an issue.
I will check for 2 seconds.
I can check it. Are you?
Already on it. Yeah, remaining 1 year. So
yeah. So he might probably letting Jarvis walk unless he's going to franchise tag him, because I'm going to guess Jarvis is asking for way too many years for how old he is. So
yeah, you know what? His whole receiver core is going to be decimated. He's got 4 guys coming up on when he signed this year.
Oof. See, and I think he has no problem with that, honestly, because I've talked to Sean. Sean and I have gone back and forth multiple times. his biggest frustration was the fact, like, take a look real quick at his entire receiving core, if you can, Brent. Go look at.
Yep, I got it up right now.
Okay, perfect. Those guys, the fastest one he has is 92, and
Right.
that's 76 overall, Antonio Callaway. Everybody else is 89, 89, 88, 88, 89. Like, he has nobody that's a playmaker that can take the top off the defense. And he said that's just killing him. So I think he has no problem with letting those guys walk. He's trying to get a whole new receiving core. He wants a bona fide number one wide receiver. And I have no problem with that. I think that would help him a lot. I think if he got a lot of speed, somebody that he can trust on every single down, that's the kind of guy you want in there for Cleveland.
I could agree with that for sure. I think he's right up there with you. I think is the favorite. I think he has the best chance to take the division crown from you.
Oh,
So I
absolutely.
think you've won the division every year this cycle.
Every year except the first year. The Steelers did win the first year.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, yeah, I think the Browns are close. I mean, it's just all about getting over that hump, and a lot. Once you build the roster and your roster can compete, and then it just comes down to a couple possessions in each game that are the difference between a win or a loss, and different. 11-5 or going 9-7 and missing the playoffs. So
Totally.
I see bright things in Cleveland. Like you said, playmaker take the top off the defense would be ideal. Everything else looks good the way it is. But let's go ahead and slide over to Regan's team, the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, they're trash. They need to replace their entire team.
The one thing this team can do is run the football. And they make sure they, or they're going to go down trying to run the football regardless.
Yeah.
But the big thing for this team is the emergence of Denard Hodge, your running back. And it's his third year in the league, 94 speed. So he's got some burners. You put him back there with Lamar Jackson, you run the read option. A lot of, it's a dangerous duo back there. And some teams can't figure out how to stop it because a lot of guys do come into that game keying on Lamar so much that Hodge is able to bust off he scored 16 touchdowns this season and was well over, 1,300 yards.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
ran for 1,300.
I think once again, kind of similar to the Browns. I think the biggest issue with this football team is they do not have a number one wide receiver. You have a bunch of guys who are good. Doug Baldwin, Jamison Crowder, Perriman's kind of your go-to over the top guy, but none of them are number one wide receivers in the XFL. And I mean, you can tell by just looking down the stat sheet, you got to use everybody because none of them create mismatches. But your running game has helped you so far, to kind of open these. I don't want to call them lesser talented receivers, but open these guys up a little bit. So I think if you were able to, I mean, we say this about everybody, but if you're able to add a speedster or somebody who can take the top off the defense, it would completely change the way teams had to play your team.
Absolutely.
Because your biggest strength, I mean, this is old school Ravens football. This is, when obviously you have a much more athletic person than Trent Dilfer at quarterback, but when your secondary is absolutely loaded. But one thing we need to see more is we need to see Perry Pennell become the playmaker that he's supposed to be.
So if you were to pick one thing between Lamar Jackson and Trent Dilfer, that's the game that you think they could, compare notes with each other on pretty well, what would you pick?
Man, they're just so similar archetypes of players. They're like every single day. I think I'm like, you know what, Lamar Jackson really reminds me of Trent Dilfer. So I mean, man, I'd have to say probably. I mean, throw power maybe. Trying to. Because Lamar has throw power for days, but accuracy is a little iffy sometimes.
I think they're both good at turning and handing the ball to Denard Hodge or Jamal Lewis. I think that's the one thing they both have in common.
There you go.
And I mean that's what, and one had Ed Reed and Perry Pennell. So I mean that's about as far as the similarities go between those two. But I mean Perry Pennell is a 99 overall 24-year-old, and I think he only had three interceptions this year. And that just is not enough to get it done.
Absolutely not.
Two interceptions this year.
Oof.
So I mean, you got a guy. I mean, he only 8 defended. I don't know. To me, this is your guy that needs to step up and make. He could really, I'm not going to say your defense is obviously probably one of the top 5 units in the league for sure. But what it comes down to is Pennell hasn't even hit close to his potential yet. And if this dude can kind of put it together and put together a monster year, that could be the year the Ravens kind of, assert themselves into the conversations with the top dogs in the NFC and kind of make some noise.
For sure. I appreciate it. He looks
anything
timid
to add
out there. Yeah. Pennell, he just looks timid, man. Like he He makes the right reads. He's in the right position, but he doesn't go after the football. He doesn't attack the football like Ed Reed did, like these playmakers of old did. He just doesn't have that ball hawk gene. I mean, he's got the potential to all day, but he really doesn't. And like you said, yeah, wide receiver, huge deal. That's definitely on my wish list this offseason. We've kind of been getting by with Band-Aids at wide receiver. We had AJ Green here for a little bit. We've had Crowder here. He's a nice little slot piece. But man, like you said, if with no clear wide receiver number one, if teams know I'm passing the football, I'm toast. Like, I could run the ball all day, and man, if I'm up on you, you're not coming back because the defense is too good. The run game will just run the clock out. But when I'm playing from behind, man, it sucks because Jamison Crowder does his best, and Perriman has been good to take the top off the defense as the speedster, but you only can do with what you got. So, like many teams in the league, I am in the market for a number one receiver.
Absolutely. Still the favorite to win the division. We'll cover the Steelers real quick just because, their user left today. So we'll kind of just cover them real quick. Kind of trying to figure out what they need to do at quarterback. Is it Mason Rudolph? Is it Matt Turner? They don't have a first-round pick this year because they smoothed it in the Aaron Donald deal. They got a nice 1-2 punch of Le'Veon Gillette and Jerick McKinnon at running back. The receiver, Antonio Brown, is old. Juju Smith hasn't really lived up to being that number one receiver. Either is James Washington. Their defense is loaded with talent. You got Shazier, Donald, Adoree Jackson, Byron Jones, Edmonds, TJ Watt. Loaded defense. I think if the right user gets control of this team, they could make some noise right out of the gate if they can, kind of figure out the quarterback play. But that's all we'll say on them. We'll kind of just move on just because we want to talk about the other guys' teams that are actually in here. Do we want to go another division in the AFC real quick, or what do we want to do?
Sure. Doesn't matter. We got to get through all 32, so we might as well. Let's go into I didn't talk much there, so I'll let you guys take a small break. I'm trying to think of something that we're all kind of involved in here. Who do we have here in the AFC? Okay, let's go with you know what? Let's just go with the AFC South.
All right.
Or is that another one of just yours, eh, Nick? Let's go with the West, just to give you so the first people that we'll start off with, I believe that I was doing the Raiders, correct?
Raiders and Chiefs, yep.
Yeah. Okay. So with the Raiders, they have Doss is pretty good, so they're always kind of competing. So I'm not going to tell them to do anything silly like rebuild. If you look through their roster, quarterback's pretty good. Derek Carr, I mean, he's 31, but it doesn't really seem to matter this Madden. The guys will play till they're 40, so he's fairly accurate. Keep him around. Running back is kind of a position that Doss might want to look at upgrading soon. I know he's always been big on running the ball, and Derrick Henry's, he's still good right now, but he's 28, so as regression starts to hit him, he's going to lose speed, and he's never really been the speediest of guys anyways. So that might be a problem. Receiver, he's looking great. He's got Amari Cooper, Jalen Holmes, Devin Funchess. That's awesome. I wouldn't change much there. I might even look at trading one of these guys possibly. He only seems to, Holmes is going to be a beast the rest of the cycle. Obviously, you don't trade him.
I don't think he can trade any of them because he needs to get them all involved so Holmes doesn't end up with a high percentage. He needs to keep all of them.
That's fair. If I was him, I might look at trading Cooper, though, man. He's 28. He's only got 2 years left on his deal. And he really needs some defensive players. Doss has been bitching for a while about his corners here and how they can't cover any receivers. So if he wants a top-flight cornerback, receiver's the position that everyone's interested in. So I think he's going to have to pay a premium for a premium position. Because if you come over here, his best guy is Gentry, right? So Gentry, he's a star, but look at his speed. 89 speed, 90 excel. That cannot be your top guy. He can't cover the Brookses of the world, the Rawls. There's no chance. The Holmes, man, Capers. Like, there's so many of these guys flooding our league right now.
He could get
cover them.
He could get big money for Amari Cooper because, that's the one thing we literally just mentioned about 5 of the 6 teams we've talked about is that they don't have anybody take the top off the defense, and that's what Amari Cooper does.
Right? Like, look at him, 94 speed. Someone's going to pay for that. This is Diggs, man. I just paid a first and a third for Diggs last year, even though he's at his regression years now. Like, he's pulling up on them.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing. he's pulling up on his regression years, but he has so much speed that he's still good for 2 to 3. He's still great for 2 to 3 years. So I think he could go out and get a pretty good corner. I think he could look at like an 85 to a 90 in that like 24 to 25 range. I think he could probably pull one of them for Amari, which if he really needs one, which he does, I'd look at doing that trade. And other than that, just spend your money, man. He's got $42 million in cap space. Go get yourself a couple free agents. I'd probably bolster the defense. Seems like his offense is doing pretty good. Maybe get yourself a linebacker or something, because like, look at it. He's got a 59 overall as his only middle linebacker on the roster. So enough said there.
Yeah, I'll take one now. Let's go the Broncos.
Sure.
So this has been one of my teams that I've been on all cycle. I think I was 2 years too early. I've called him to be the team kind of emerging as the new favorite the last 2 seasons, and he's improved but not quite there. Added Marcus Mariota last year, which was a huge step in the right direction for them. He was able to also add Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's been, pretty decent this year when he's on the field. Only played 13 games this year. And then what I really like, he's got the Devontaes at receiver. He's got Devontae Adams and Devontae Parker, who both, Devontae Adams put up monster numbers this year, and he's just defying that myth that you have to be a 95 or above speed receiver to make plays in this league. Because, Devontae Adams is 89 speed, I think. And
90
speed. Yeah, 90 speed. 95 excels there, but 90 speed. And he's as sure-handed as it gets. I had this guy on my team for 2 seasons, and the dude's a beast. But he put up massive numbers, 1,600 yards, 11 touchdowns. That's huge. But the turnover issues on offense. If Ace can figure out some of his offense here, he could be really dangerous in this AFC West. Especially, we don't know. It's a very tough division, that's for sure. But the defensive side of football is where this team shines. You got Bobby Wagner, you got the rookie Spencer Fairley, you brought in Eric Reed, and then you got Bradley Chubb, 15 tackles for loss and 12.5 sacks this year. Kind of, you traded off Von Miller, and Chubb has kind of just stepped up as this go-to pass rusher. And he's still
he hasn't missed a beat with him, man.
What?
He hasn't missed a beat.
No, he's definitely. This defense is where he makes his money. And then I don't know if you remember that Travion Pinkston that went, I think, second overall, 3 drafts ago. Dude's a monster. 6'4", 306 defensive end, 36 tackles, 18 tackles for a loss. This dude is a run stuffer.
Right.
It's as good as it gets. That's a big boy that can move.
And for some reason, he's got them both on the left end position right now.
He starts one on the other side. I made sure I checked that out before. But I think if this team needed anything, it's going to come down to, if Nick Chubb's not getting it done, is it Nick Chubb who's not? Is it Mariota who's too many turnovers? Once again, if you added like a John Ross to this mix, who's on the trade block, and you threw Ross with Devontae Adams and Devontae Parker, that this offense all of a sudden turns into one of the most dangerous units.
How does that?
I remember when
Ross, you're not going to get him for free. So
no,
what
you're giving up a first round pick or a young, very talented player. Ross is 28, going to be 29, I think. 27, going to be 28. I don't know. He's not. Obviously, he's going to. A first rounder has got to be included, I have to think. But
where Ace is a non-playoff team, so I agree. I would do that if I was him, but I'm offering VBD that straight up. I'm not giving it more on top of that.
Yeah, no, I don't think I am either. It also depends what happens to Ross this season. If Ross is dropping speed, I'm dropping my pick. But anytime you can add a speed receiver to pair next to Devontae Adams, I think the Packers did it with a guy named Barry Brooks, and they just had a lot of success. So I think. But no, absolutely. Yeah. But let's move on here, Brent. Go ahead and talk about the Chiefs a little bit. Regan, if you want to jump in here with the Chiefs, you can too.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead, Reegs, if you want to do the Chiefs, because I didn't do a ton of prep work. I'm basically just going through things. So.
Yeah, sure thing. I'll go ahead and check them out.
If you can, if you don't have your stuff open, I can just go ahead and do it.
No, I'm checking it out right now.
Yeah.
So with the Chiefs, they've definitely got a good offensive core. Having Mahomes and his 98 throw power to pair with Tyreek Hill, who's put up monster numbers this year, is always going to do you favors. I know Sammy Watkins is on the trade block, so since he's hitting those regression years, he has 93 speed, 90 acceleration. I'm kind of combing through his weapons right now. I know
You're
he's
good.
trying to get rid of him, but he does have a pretty hefty penalty on him. He's got about 10.5, so I wonder perhaps maybe he was trying to dangle that out right there at the end of the season before re-signing him. That might have been one of his poll to see if he could get any information on him, and he might have re-signed him to a big deal. But Conley also isn't bad either at 30 years old. So he's got some aging receivers. I think and again, Tyreek Hill, we forget about him being old, but at 98 speed, but he'll be rounding 30 pretty soon. So if he can get younger at receiver, I know we're reaching sort of the end. We're starting to kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel with the end of the cycle, but youth is always a good thing because they're more adaptable. They can change when they need you to, things like that. Travis Kelce at tight end, he's exactly what you need at tight end. No, I'll just move on there. His line's pretty solid all around. I look at line. I'm unlike Nick. I do like a good line, at least an average line. If you have a below average line, I start to question things. If you're like, middle of the road, because, if you're going to overpay to get a good line, I think you'll see benefits. But if you're not willing to do that, don't do it. So I think he's at that good level.
I will say, you can win against anyone in this league, against the lower level users with a shitty offensive line. But if you want to compete in the playoffs, you have to have a somewhat decent offensive line because you're going up against the best pass rushers in the league. I mean, every single matchup you're going up against a guy who's got 18 plus sacks. So go ahead and carry on here. But this team's biggest issue's got to be defense. You have, like you just named, all their star talent on offense.
Yes.
Defense, they're just old.
They are. Except in the front seven. I will give him that. The front seven looks pretty nice. With McMillan there, he's a 25-year-old quick, 78. So it's like these guys are still can change, still can grow a little bit. Garrick Sweeney is one that he drafted a couple years back, who's actually moved up to star. He's a pass coverage linebacker. So, and his defensive line competes with one of the best in the AFC West. If it wasn't for Ace having that insane line over there. But because he's got young guys, they're all good. Clemens, Hicks, and Dixon Baker at defensive tackle. Those are all really good guys, as well as Coco Hale. I like that name personally. But his secondary is, aside from Travis Peterson, it's getting old. It's getting older, especially at cornerback. He could really do to have a good fast corner, because he's got all corners that are at 90 speed, 91, 90, 90. And then everybody else is 88, 85, 82. So that's pretty rough. But his safeties are good, so that'll help make up for the lack of corner talent. So in my opinion, the biggest thing I think he needs is probably just going to be like a playmaker on defense, somebody especially at corner. If he could find a really good lockdown corner that can travel with the number one receiver like Devontae Adams in his division, that can travel with a Holmes in his division. That's what's so important, is you build your team to beat the division. And right now, the Chiefs just aren't contending with the division based on their own the roster deficiencies. That kills them. Because when you got those really good receivers that I mentioned, you have to have great corners that can go one-on-one with them and totally shut them down. What are your thoughts, Nick?
I agree. I mean, this is one. I think it doesn't get talked about a lot, but this is one of our tougher divisions. And we haven't even talked about yet the Chargers. I mean, this division is putting out two double-digit team wins pretty much every season. So let's kind of segue into the Chargers, I guess. But
well, one question that I have for both of you: would you trade Tyreek Hill and try and get?
This is your opportunity.
Because here's the thing: he's going into his regression years, so that speed's going to start dropping. But it's still probably the best the league has for speed, other than maybe Rawls, for about 2 years. So I think you're in a rebuild. This guy has absolutely, well, I mean, unless he starts playing a lot better next year. But from what I've seen this year, he has very low chance of winning the Super Bowl next year. So by the time you actually are ready to win the Super Bowl and you've built this team up, Tyreek's not probably going to be part of that plan anymore. So would you trade him and try and get a top 5 pick or something this year?
Grizz in the chat says no chance. He
Yeah.
said he would never trade Tyreek, and
I
Chad says
agree.
come get Odell, which Chad's just saying random stuff. But
Yeah, Chad always says random stuff.
this is your only chance you have to trade Tyreek and come back with a haul. It's much like the John Ross situation where, I mean, guys don't lose speed like they did in the past, but this is your last chance to come back with, a ton of what you probably feel is worth it getting rid of one of these very talented receivers.
And
Yeah,
to
because you're not
bring-
getting a good haul next year.
See, to bring
No.
a differing opinion, though, I disagree entirely. I think that his offense is Tyreek Hill right now. Anything
Yeah.
with deep, because look, he has no other speed that isn't getting older, that isn't 30 years old already. Those guys, a 93 speed at age 30 and a 94 speed at age 30 is a whole lot different than a 98, 99 agility. So that's what's so important is he's still agile. He's still going to run those routes. He's not just a deep burner that has no route running. He's got 89 route running, 93 mid, and then 95 deep. He's got 89 on the short. So he's still got 95 deep running. That's not going anywhere. That's not going to drop too much. I say you keep him through the cycle. He's a guy that I doubt he gets below 96, 95 by the end of the cycle. Just comparing him to like Antonio Brown, he's still going at it. Like he's a guy that has the stats to continue to be good. And I say, unless he sees a superstar receiver that he loves in the draft, then by all means trade him. But unless you have a replacement guy in-house that's your number one bona fide guy, no. I don't think you should go
All right,
anywhere.
let's go ahead and move on here. We got a lot of teams to still get to here, but
Yeah.
we'll hit the Chargers real quick. Good old Van in the Chargers. He's got Cam Newton, who he's letting hit free agency. Cam's had some bright moments in Los Angeles and some very dark moments in Los Angeles. The darkest being his interception in the AFC Championship from the 2-yard line when he had the game locked up and was going to the Super Bowl and gave it to Regan. But I mean, this team goes as Melvin Gordon goes, and Melvin Gordon has been having some big years. The biggest thing, I think, D.D. Westbrook was a huge acquisition for the team. He had over 1,000 yards this year, double-digit touchdowns. Him and Mike Williams both caught 50 passes each. Defensively, Joey Bosa is an absolute madman. You got a very talented player at each level in the defense. You have Jatavis Brown, a linebacker, who's been an interception monster. This team actually led the XCFL in interceptions, and a lot of it was due to a 7-interception game against the 49ers. But I mean, you got Jatavis Brown, you got Joey Bosa in the D-line, then you have Derwin James in the secondary, who is a ball-hawking 6'4" monster freak athlete that keeps getting tossed around in trade talks, but there's no way this dude can get traded. Quick update in the playoff game, 13-0 Washington Redskins over the Bears, and the Skins had the ball back. Jack's going to pitch some shutouts in the playoff, huh?
Yeah, how about that Skins defense, man? He held me to 6 today, too.
Oh, 6, yeah, okay. But, yeah, I mean, as far as the Chargers are a good team, they're very old. They need to get a lot younger. I mean, I think he has a full draft this year, hopefully.
I'll tell you, right?
He has no cap room. I remember that. Not much. $2 million in cap, but that's not ideal for an aging team. But if you can shell out Cam, you got to free up what, $30 million there
easily.
Yeah, it's got to be. Well, I don't know about 30, but it's going to be 20. A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not already roster. Anyways, I mean, yeah, he's got to make this younger, man. Like it's if you're letting go of Cam, you're basically admitting rebuild at that point.
Unless he's in the market for one of these quarterbacks that are in the trade block. I mean,
right, which is an option. He does have. He's actually got an extra second rounder.
Okay, so if you're going for Hepner, if you're going for, I mean, I don't even know. Every young quarterback is out there. Josh Allen. I don't know. We'll see.
And it's the basic rule of supply and demand. The more supply there is, the less demand. So he can get a better price for him.
Yeah, let's go ahead and move on here to another division, just so we can kind of touch on these, get everybody's team mentioned in. But you guys have a division we want to go to next?
Yeah,
Let's just get all the AFC teams out of the way. We've already got 2 of them done.
Okay. AFC South or AFC East?
You guys want to do the AFC East?
Yeah, let's go AFC East. That's an exciting up-and-coming division.
All right. I had Jets. I can go ahead and cover them real quick.
Let's do it.
All right. So you got Jets and with old Jared over there. Really great user, and he's one of my favorite users to trade with, actually. He's got a quarterback situation that's less than ideal. He's expressed his displeasure with Darnold. Some days he's on, some days he's way off, throwing passes into the first row. It's pretty rough. But I think so. My top three needs for Jared is all on offense. His defense is set at every position. When you go to his defensive roster, it is loaded from point A to point B. Defensive line, linebacker, and secondary. It's all great. But quarterback, halfback, and the offensive line. The offensive line is pretty sparse. It is below average, and when you have a below average offensive line, I don't think you can go above 500, but like Nick said, you really can't contend past that. So quarterback, we're looking at that on the screen right now. Darnold, he's got Darnold there, Bridgewater, and Sinclair. He's gone back and forth. I think he should just go ahead and make a move for one of these guys he's got that are on the trade block. He's got a lot of picks from me. I know I've traded him picks. I think he has a couple from me, but he's got the cap space and the weapons to go ahead and go get one of these quarterbacks on the market, as well as halfback. His number one halfback's got 85 speed. Enough said. That's terrible. There's only so much you can do with that. He needs something else there at halfback. So that'll cover the Jets. All in all, he's a great user. Really good setup. I think if he makes a move for a quarterback, gets that taken care of, and of course wide receiver. He's got a decent wide receiver in Robbie Anderson, but I think halfback is more important because you gotta be able to run the football with a good defense. To play defense, you've got to run the football. It goes hand in hand.
So he's got the same problem as me. He's got, well, I mean, obviously mine's a lot more talented than this one, but he's got a younger running back, 82 overall, but he only has 85 speed. So draft pick just like mine. Do you guys think he should give up on him, or do you think he should try and develop him the same way I did with Poye?
I think he's a good back in the right role. He's a role player kind of guy. What do you think, Nick?
Are you talking about his running back?
Nate Miller. Yeah, Nate Miller.
Oh no, he starts Everett Newton at running back. Xavier Newton back. The 24-year-old rookie, 90 speed, 89 excel. He finished second in offensive rookie of the year, I think, for the AFC this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he's just letting this guy die off then, I guess. The 85.
Yeah. Newton actually ran for 1,250 yards this year and 8 touchdowns. So he was a baller for the Jets. I think so he's going to roll with this guy moving forward, and I think it puts him in a really good spot. Darnold hasn't been anything spectacular, so if he can rely on the run game and defense, I mean that's the key of being successful in the XFL. But
yeah,
see, Nate Miller doesn't have to die. I mean, he can use him in those, like I said, in a role player. He's a receiving back. A receiving back will always have a role used smartly in the right offense.
I mean, what are his catching stats? Do you actually know that he's a receiving back, or?
No, I know he's a receiving back. Yeah, that's his archetype. Yeah. But
I mean, they're all under 80 though. Like he doesn't have I guess 75 is pretty good for catching. So yeah, he's got a spot, but I wouldn't.
Well, let's move on to the next AFC East team here. Jets are a solid rebuild going. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, we do have to kind of speed these teams up.
Yeah, you want to go Patriots here?
Yeah, let's do it. We all kind of know the Patriots roster pretty well, so I think we can go over this one.
Patriots is pretty, I mean, you got Spriggs, you got Capers, you got the rookie Peak, who he traded for, who's just been an absolute stud since his injury. 17 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I mean, took Stafford's spot, took Gallagher's spot. I mean, this is an exciting team that Sony Michel's been running the football well. He's got weapons really all over the place. Dorsett, Michel, Gronk, Jordan Reed. I mean, 2 of the best tight ends of our generation. Does anyone see a glaring need for the Patriots that we think they should address? They have Burgess and Harold Landry at pass rushing, both with double-digit sacks. I mean, is there a glaring need?
Maybe a safety.
Oh, how about middle linebacker for me? He's got 71 overall. Dante Hightower, who's going to regress even more this year.
Ooh,
I think he rolls. He actually plays Foyesade Oluokun or whatever from the Falcons. 90 speed, 89 excel.
Yeah, I mean,
very average year, 32 tackles. Right, yeah,
he's a 68 overall. I mean, he's almost doing the same thing Doss did at this point, starting the fast 59 overall.
Yeah, 15.
Really works out well this Madden, in my opinion.
No, I think I agree with you though. If you
Sadly.
can get a stopping or a pass coverage middle linebacker, it could really change this entire defense around.
Yeah.
But I mean, Harold Landry was a huge offseason acquisition. 18 tackles for loss, 16 sacks. He shout out to Brian for ruining his cap space and having to let Harold Landry go at like 24. But
Yeah.
I don't know. You got maybe a safety like Regan said. Lindsey Porter, I think his name is a slow dude. I think he's 84 speed. Probably plays that middle linebacker position for him.
Yeah, sub linebacker.
Yeah, but I don't know if I had to pick a spot. I think are they the favorite to win this division for the next couple of foreseeable years here?
Absolutely, man. Spriggs and Capers are just going to keep getting better. Got a young quarterback, just going to get better too. I mean, unless one of these other guys steps up, but for now, they're young, so I don't see why he wouldn't just keep getting better with them.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. So let's go ahead and move on here. He did say George starting middle linebacker, but 85 speed, 87 excel, 71 zone, 85 hit power though. All right, let's hit. Who are our last two? Bills.
Yeah, so we got to do that. The Bills and the Dolphins, I guess.
Bills and Dolphins. Yep. Who wants to break down the Bills? I know the Bills well. I just played them.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, start it off.
You got the second best receiver in the XCF behind Barry Brooks, Isaac. Rawls had a massive season. He's won his third straight AFC best wide receiver. He's going to his third straight Pro Bowl, but 71 catches, 1,800 yards, 15 touchdowns. Corey Coleman on the other side, almost 1,000-yard receiver, 8 touchdowns himself. There's rumors of Josh Allen being moved, which, I mean, how do you guys feel about that? You got a 27-year-old star development, 99 throw power.
Yeah, you can't let
quarterback.
That go.
No,
especially with Rawls. Who's going to get Rawls the ball?
I don't think
that throw power to get the ball out to him.
This dude is the one in a lifetime. I don't care if he misses the short passes because the 99 throw power makes up 86 deep accuracy, 88 medium accuracy, 85 short accuracy. That's good enough to get it done. I mean, more than good enough.
Yeah, he shouldn't even be missing.
And his offense isn't the problem. It's his Swiss cheese defense that picked me off 5 times the last time he played. But that was just, I mean, that's what it really comes down to. He can score with anybody in the league. Him and Regan had that 50-50 game, I think week 1 or 2.
Yeah,
but
wild. Not very defensive friendly for somebody that loves defense.
But I don't get how this defense struggles when you have Trey White. You got Trey Edmonds at middle linebacker, who's like a 90 speed middle linebacker. You got Akilo Witherspoon across, who's like 6'3", 200 pounds. I mean, you have talented players. Tre'Davious White's a 99 overall. I mean, stud. But yeah. I just.
He's got a great D, man.
Oh, it's loaded.
On paper, he's got the players at cornerback and middle linebacker, which are probably that and pass rushers are the most important positions, and his pass rushers are pretty good too. So,
I will say
maybe a new user. Can you replace?
Oh man. No, I'd say secondary free safety. Go look at free safety real quick. The fastest guy he has is 84 speed. I mean, he must be getting burned on that side. He doesn't really have that roaming ball hawk kind of guy that you need back there.
He let go of he benched Poyer and he traded what's his name, Micah Hyde, and those are his 2 vets. I don't know if it's because there's more talented players that moved into this division, users that moved in the division. If he just maybe he got a little rusty because he wasn't used to playing some talented guys. I don't know, but I still think I don't know if I'm ready to give up on J-Mo favorite to win the East. It's going to be close, but I think he can turn it around pretty quick. Like we said, I mean, it's an offensive-driven league. I don't know.
Well, that leads us halfway decently into our last AFC East because this is my dark horse pick. I love this guy. This guy played a hell of a game. I've never seen. I told him after this. I said this in chat. Cleanest game anyone's ever played against me in XCFL.
I'll second that because I played him too. I'll second that.
That was clean as hell. Like I have never played a guy that, I mean, just perfect reads, great defense. I was like, well, okay, the defense was iffy, but I mean, he made good calls and they made plays when they needed to. His team is just trash in the secondary. Yep. That's what I was going to address is Pride has to have a cornerback, strong safety, free safety. None of those guys can start on pretty much any team in the XCFL. They're all below like 89 speed or something. Like, dude, I kept trying to get, and what's crazy is he somehow disguises it well and somehow like makes up for them being complete trash. I kept trying to hit my boy Perriman on a fade outside because I was like, oh, 89 speed corner, bet, give me that crap. Let's hit him outside. Nothing, dude. Like, he's a great user, I'm telling you. All he needs is good secondary, a couple splash guys to kind of fill those gaps and of course, force turnovers. And he needs a wide receiver one, like a lot of teams in the league. But
when he joined the league, I that's the first thing I asked him. I challenge. I said, this is going to be a rough roster. I was like, this is a tough situation. He was up for the challenge and he came in, and I mean, I think by the end of this cycle, we have 3-4 more seasons. If he can turn this around, he is a force to be reckoned with in the AFC.
definitely.
I think I beat him by like 4 or something. I don't know. It was, and I should have probably lost.
Pick situation, man. He's only got the one first this year, but he's got 2 seconds, 2 thirds, 2 fourths.
Oh yeah,
Damn.
So
that was that Micah Hyde deal. That
Yes.
right.
But I don't know. But I mean, the big bright spot on this team is Kenyon. I mean, 20 freaking rushing touchdowns, 1,200 yards, I mean, averaging 5.6 a carry. I mean, he was a workhorse in this offense. The most usage of his entire career, even when he was at Alabama.
Yeah,
and I mean, he did work on me. He did work on my defense. I got a good defense. I like to pride myself on being able to stop the run. And man, he took off like I was a high school defense, man. It was rough.
And the one thing about him is he doesn't give up on the run. You know, he literally
Nope.
He was going to run the football no matter what against me, and
Absolutely.
he did. You know, and that's what a lot of people don't do, and that's why you see, you know, his quarterback Anthony Ripkowski, the Ripper.
The Ripper.
You know, 16 interceptions. That's very low considering this league. He took care of the football. He didn't, you know, and that gives you a chance to win any game against anybody.
Right. Okay, well, let's move on to the NFC here.
Let's do it.
Halfway done. I'll start it off here because I got
Did
notes
we
Yeah, boys, I
skip
don't think we did the AFC South.
AFC South?
Oh no, we still have.
We can go quick through those bums though.
Okay, yeah.
We talk about them a lot. I have all their stuff down here, but
Sure. Yeah, just rip through them, man.
Yeah, dude, you got it.
Just get yourself on a roll. We won't chime in for a second.
Let's do it.
Just go.
All right, the Colts. We all know this. They go as far as Naheem Hines. Didn't run for 1,000 yards this year, but him and Andrew Luck are a deadly combination in that backfield. The big question here, they have 4 wide receivers, Felder, Hill, Long, and Culver. All guys that caught 20 to 30 balls for about 500 to 600 yards, but they have no number one receiver. It can be looked at as a good thing. It can be looked at as, they're missing one guy to kind of step up and be Andrew Luck's go-to guy. No T.Y. Hilton, so somebody's got to step up and be the go-to guy. The one bright spot in this defense was T.J. Green. He had a massive year with 72 tackles, 9 interceptions. If they were to do anything, I think they need a little bit of linebacker help. Their secondary is loaded. Probably could use a little more speed just to keep up with the receivers that the Jags have. And then the outside, Le'Veon Bell and McCaffrey in this division are tough too. But the Colts, a stud team. Hammer lost a lot of close games that he could have easily won. And we could be looking at, 3 teams from this division made the playoffs. He was the one that didn't, and he was still over 500. But let's go to the Jags. One of the most explosive offenses in the XFL. You got Fedorowicz or whatever his freaking name is at quarterback. Federkill, yeah, whatever. Yeah, Fedorowicz was the running linebacker you drafted last Madden. You have the finesse game with this passing attack, and then you have the Fournette power rushing game, which causes headaches and problems for all defenses because you are playing in nickel most of the time because you're scared of these receivers, and then Fournette gets those inside zones and just, especially with this latest Madden patch, his truck stick is,
false
and
forward
then,
for 17 yards.
Exactly. You have DJ Shark, you have Keenan Gordon, who both just, are explosive speed receivers. My biggest question is this defense is aging. They're getting old fast. And Jalen Ramsey is kind of a non-factor, which as a corner can be a good thing. It kind of means you're doing your job, but only 3 interceptions. He did back. Never mind. Take that all back. He swatted 17 passes. That's pretty freaking good. But the biggest, Yannick Ngakoue, that was pretty good. 21 sacks, 17 tackles for a loss. But once again, he's one of those guys that's getting older. You have Miles Jack, who's not quite old, but getting there. Telvin Smith is what, 30, 29? That's 32. Never mind. It's I don't know. He's got some decisions to make, but he has to get younger on defense. So I think go best available player, defensive player in the draft, and he'll be set there. 2 left. The Texans, we just watched the Texans and Titans play. I mean, the Texans, can this team win games with Zeke Harper at the helm? That's my biggest question. And is DeAndre Hopkins still an elite wide receiver? He had a halfback duo of Zemetis and Curtis who combined for 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, but we know Boone doesn't like to run the football, but I think those guys need more touches. The one thing that we can all say is the addition of Marcus Davenport has reshaped this entire defense and made them an actual defense. They actually show up and don't give up a shootout every single game. But they need to draft speed in the secondary. Boone will sit there and say speed doesn't move, whatever. But he drafted like an 85 overall over speed corner and puts him at say, I don't know. He needs some speed in the secondary. But he's still, I think he's one of the best users in the AFC. He just needs to kind of put it all together. The Titans, number one thing, they need to stay healthy. You brought in DeSico to play quarterback. We all know he wants to run the football. He's putting in some new wrinkles, getting McCaffrey out in the slot, letting him kind of play that wide receiver slot back position, which will be interesting to see how that goes through the rest of these playoffs and next season. Is Corey Davis the number one receiver? I don't think so. You have Von Miller on the franchise tag. He needs more talent in his secondary other than Jordan Lewis. I know his whole cap situation kind of just made him kind of blow up his defense last year, so I'm curious to see how he rebuilds that. But he went 12-4 this year, which is pretty freaking good. So not much to change in Tennessee. How's that? We good there?
Perfect. Okay,
Right,
so
great.
on to the NFC East real quick. I already got notes for all these guys, so it's going to go nice and quick. Start with the Giants. So I think Brad needs to move Saquon. I'm just going to say it. I know he's been talking about it for the last little bit. A couple guys disagree with it. I would move Saquon, and I would go straight to VBD. He's been talking about how he will trade anything to get this guy, and I would use that to my advantage. So I'm going there, and who I want from him is Russell Wilson. If I'm Chad, I know that he's got Bryce Hefner right now.
What?
Bryce Hefner's pretty good, but he's not Russell Wilson. Russell's a 94. So I want Russell Wilson, and then if he won't give me Russell Wilson, then I want both Mixon and John Ross for him.
Whoa.
Him over the barrel. So get one of those two combos and then trade accordingly afterwards. Take Bryce Hefner if you can and get another, decent mid-range or high first-round draft pick. If you get Russell Wilson, if you don't, and you get Ross or Mixon, then just keep Bryce Hefner.
Here's a super quick idea. What if he was to ask for Mixon and Minka? Because he needs defense like nobody's business. So, what about that? What do you think about that deal?
I don't mind that either. I could go with that. Mostly what I was getting at with him trying to get the extra pick for Hefner after trading Russ was I was going to say draft two defensive guys.
Gotcha.
So I could also go ahead with that plan. As long as he's getting either two pieces that are really good or Russell Wilson. He's got to get something just beastly.
VBD says in the chat, Wilson is already packing his bags to New York. Good call with a little sunglasses emoji.
Oh, there we go. I like it, man. Go ahead and trade Hefner after
But
this.
now that's my question then. You need to pull a shit ton for Bryce Hefner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like,
He's the
we
best
saw-
young guy in the league.
He's a 25-year-old superstar quarterback for sure.
Watson went for your 95 overall defensive end, and who was 26 years old. So I'm going to need to see some big name come back for Bryce Hefner or else Chad just ruined it.
No, I agree. He's got to get something big, but I think he can get another 94 to 95 for Hefner as well. And then he's just added two guys of that caliber to his team to go with all the other guys. He already has tons of speed on there. So get yourself the high overall guys that perform every game.
But now here's the real question. How do we get someone else to hold the controller during the games?
Yeah, we're going to have to work on that one next, but let's worry about the team first.
That's a tough one.
So
Maybe thumb transplant or something.
Oh, not bad.
Hammer says Hebner is below 500 for his career, in all capitals. Trash.
He's not wrong. But,
John Eagle says, who trades this 25-year-old god for an old-ass dude? Only a Chad move.
Bro, I still have it stuck in my head whenever we were doing the draft show. And Chad, first words out of his mouth, he hops in the freaking chat thread and he's like, Big Blue gets their cue, boy. And I'm like,
Big Blue
oh
gets their
my
cue.
gosh. And dude, that's been stuck in my head every time. Every time I see hepatitis B, it always trips me out.
Hepatitis, see you later after you trade him, huh?
Chad doesn't average good yardage, man. If you look at Saquon, he's averaging less than 1,000 yards a season since he's had him. You might as well get a position that you can actually use.
Well, because
Yeah,
I don't
Saquon
think
doesn't get to
run
run.
is in his vocabulary, man. Like it's
Exactly.
Because Saquon doesn't get to go out for a pass when he runs his 4 verts play every other play.
exactly. And the
That's
problem,
the
the
issue.
problem is OBJ can't get the ball if Saquon's running it. That's the issue, man. Like if you could find a way to like maybe do like a hook and ladder, like lateral it to him, he'd be perfect.
Here's the real question then. If Saquon goes to the Seahawks, do the Seahawks turn into a run-first football team?
No.
No?
No.
You think
I think he instantly needs a neck brace because he turns into Brian with the same situation
Oh!
with Le'Veon Bell and Christian
Mixed.
McCaffrey.
Yeah.
The neck brace.
All right, let's move on. What team you got next?
So I got the Redskins next.
Okay. Who are up 20-3 right now?
Oh, wow. Yeah,
With
another
3 minutes to go.
He's been putting it on everyone here. So Redskins have the most difficult situation to work out. I'm really rooting for Jack to win the Super Bowl this year because if he doesn't, he's not winning one this year. If you go ahead and look at his salary, he's got $0.07 million in cap space free. And his team is really old. If you look at the guys, like the top couple guys are 25, fine, but he's got Xavier Rhodes, who's 32. Who else does he have? Anthony Barr, who's 30.
Kendricks.
Yeah, like Paul Richardson's 30. He's just Roethlisberger's 40. He's been trading for all people's older players, and it's catching up to him now. So this is the last year he has. Next year he has to go full rebuild. So if he wanted to try and push for one more year, he could, but he's just going to drop the value of it for everyone. So I would trade, get rid of a lot of these mid-range guys, try and get some picks and rebuild it all. And hopefully he can pull off the Super Bowl this year and it's not a total waste.
You know what? Darius Geis got freaking paid.
Yeah, on an 8-year deal too, nonetheless. So he is there.
He's making $18.5 million in 2028.
Damn.
Thank God for Jack. We won't get there. 18.5. Well, I mean, Geis is his guy though. Although he had killing it with what's his name?
Geis has lived in the trade block.
Yeah, Corey Grant's been killing it though for him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's a good thing Madden players have no feelings because Geis would be losing his crap all the time. He'd be like, yeah, thanks. Appreciate being the side chick to your offense. It's great.
So my next team that I have are the Cowboys. The Cowboys have a pretty decent roster, actually. This is one that I think is finally ready to compete. They've got Dak at QB, good running back in Zeke.
Wait, real quick. Brian Neckbrace Gibbs says in the chat, I tried to get Geis. He wanted my entire family for him.
Yeah, he did. And his left nut. Yeah, for sure. He wanted the world.
Brian also says Neckbrace is going to the divisional. Congrats, Brian. You beat Boone.
So
All right, go ahead.
So the Cowboys are set up pretty well. Zeke, Dak on offense, and an incredible O-line. That leaves room for their one hole, which is at receiver. They need to get a receiver if they want to get this offense going. They got Russell Hansen, who's got good speed, but he's 26, so he's not really going to develop anymore, and he's only an 83, and that's their top guy. So if I'm them, I'm going to do a trade like real life. I'm going to Doss, and I'm getting Amari.
Love it.
There's the other piece of that. So that's why I was kind of working on that one earlier. Here's your guy. Cowboys and Raiders get in touch with each other. You need to go out and get Amari. Now, whether it's your first-round pick or let's pull up their corners here, yeah, they got what it takes, man. Go ahead and trade a Wootsy or even, Doss will probably want Zemitis because he likes sub-90 speed corners.
Sub-90.
I would look to trade Awuzie and him are same age. They're both high-speed guys. Do that trade straight up. And then if you're the Cowboys and you want to replace him and have a fast corner still, go ahead and use your first-round pick to get one because fast corners you can find them in the draft at the later spots where you will not find that 90-speed receiver that late or 95 plus.
I agree. That's an interesting trade.
No, I love that. Yeah. That's a great idea. That was exactly what I thought of. I was like, I wonder if he's going to go there. That's good, man. I like that.
Yeah, tried to find people some trade partners here. Spice things up. So the last team is the Eagles.
Find me some trade partners.
No, none of that here.
So the last team here, they actually have a decent little roster. They got 4 guys 90 plus, but the problem is they're starting old. Like almost all these guys are aging except for LeBradford Sanders, and he's a safety, which isn't, it's pretty easy to find them. They're not a premium position in my mind. And he has tons of cap space. He's got 40 million in cap space right now. So if I was him, I would just go spend every dollar I had on free agent. That's about the only thing I got for you, because you are missing quite a bit of talent, right? Like in the key positions. Mike Evans is not going to cut it in.
He hates Carson Wentz too.
Carson Wentz, yeah. I mean, you could trade him, but
Carson
he hates him. See,
he hates Carson Wentz.
Carson should be pretty good. I would think he'd be a great Madden.
Somewhere John Eagle is losing it. Like he's crying in a corner right now. He's like, I know it hurts. It hurts.
I think, wow, I would have traded for Carson Wentz and saved Davenport if I would have known that he hated him that much.
Oh, if you watch one of his streams that he streams, he yells at Wentz almost as much as he yells at his opponent.
Oh man.
But yeah, I don't have much else for him, man. He needs a lot of talent, but
he can run the football.
He just needs to spend money.
On Brent's notes for Eagles, it just says new team. That's all it says.
So I'll go ahead and let you guys grab a division here next, so I can kind of rest up a bit.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'll hit up. I got we can go and do the South. Actually, I'll go ahead and talk about your division, Brent. I got some good notes on that. I got the entire division here, so we can go ahead and start with. We'll start with the Euros, and save, since the world was cool for a while over in Europe, and then whenever they went over to America, it got cooler. So we'll go ahead and start with the Euros and finish with the best. So we'll start with Josh, since he's British and stuff. Yeah, I know, right? But he's got a damn good roster. I mean, arguably one of the best in the league on defense and offense. Really well balanced.
Best in his own division.
Yeah, I'd say that. Oh, not even the best? Oh, never mind. That's a pretty big claim. I'd say. I don't know. I'd say those wide receivers, that the Twin Towers with the wide receiver from Alabama. I'm blanking on the name, but him and
Ridley.
Yeah, Ridley. Yeah. And the new guy he's got, man, those guys are they can blaze. But who do they have throwing to them? I would say aging. Get the aging Matt Ryan, 37 years old. So at any time he could retire. I know he might not. I know he's probably going to keep going. He definitely bought that quarterback retirement package. But if he does, at the end of this season, he's got to get a quarterback. And I think he should start now in grooming a backup replacement, because he doesn't have anybody. He doesn't have anyone that good behind him, as well as at halfback. He's got Devontae Freeman, who has been good, but he hasn't gotten the production. I mean, he's getting older to where he's not going to keep getting that same kind of production out of him. As well at free safety, that's the only hole he has on defense. He's a pretty slow guy, and really the only weak spot he has. So overall, great roster. Groom a backup quarterback. Find a halfback that's a little younger, somebody that can take more carries, won't get hurt like Freeman, and find a free safety that can roam in the middle, deep third of the field. That pretty much wraps up Josh. You guys got any comments? I know, Nick, you love Josh. He's like your favorite user, right?
Yeah, find a second pass rusher so you don't have to use tag the entire time.
For real. There were literally, like, I kid you not, I mean, in case you missed it in the chat, there were jokes like, hey, can we limit the amount of percentage that you take with user sacks, just because of Takk McKinley being such a beast. So
I mean, yeah. The speed is unmatched at the defensive end, defensive end outside linebacker position. 99 for now. I mean,
the moment he sheds, he's on you.
It's the Excel, man. He's got 94 Excel.
Yeah, he comes flying through. It's dangerous, and people. It's like when you play the Falcons, you have to prepare like you're playing Rawls or Brooks or someone else. You have to play differently because of an elite player on his team.
Completely.
You can't go in there and play like you're playing any other team, because Takk will ruin your entire game plan.
He does. He ruined mine. I mean, I got Lamar, and I'm like, oh, I'll just run away from him. Nope. He catches Lamar like he's running through butter, so it's great. Anyway, so I think we'll move on to the Panthers now. My hometown team.
The GOAT. Riot.
Yeah, Riot, dude. I love Riot. Riot's a good user too, and this was an odd year for him. I think he kind of underperformed. He didn't get where he needed to be. me and Irek were actually talking about that. It was a weird year for him because last year he made the playoffs, and this year he wasn't looking so hot. So um, I think it was relatively attributed to not having a halfback. He traded away McCaffrey. He kind of backed
Yeah.
up and punted on the season because Parker Easy's a good quarterback, but he's not the kind of guy that can go out and win you games by himself. He's fast though, 88 speed, 91 agility, 87 acceleration. I mean, this guy can move, and he's got a decent amount of throw power for a scrambler quarterback with 90. Um, but he does need another wide receiver threat. I think a halfback and a wide receiver, getting a wide receiver too, that would really help. Beside the guy he drafted a couple years back, I believe he was there whenever he was actually in that first draft. But uh,
Paris Skinner.
Paris Skinner.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm seeing him right now from Oregon. He had that cool backstory about being an Olympic track athlete, so he can
He
blaze.
also traded DJ Moore.
He did.
Yeah,
And
DJ
that's
Moore
why.
was
Yep.
an absolute stud, and he traded him for a safety and a pick. I mean, he probably liked it at the time, but DJ Moore is a stud in Minnesota right now.
Definitely. See, and the issue for the Panthers, they got a good secondary. It's not too bad. I'm a fan. I mean, they're honestly not too bad is an understatement. I kind of had to check myself. Those corners are absurd. I played this guy this year, and I was like, I can't get any release on these guys. Like they were jumping routes. He's got those two rookie corners that are just crazy good. Or no, he's got one rookie corner, and I think he drafted another guy a few years back. But that rookie corner, he was the 85 superstar out of the gate, and he's insane.
Bentley,
He's a god. Bentley is an absolute god.
Yeah.
But the issue therein lies with the front seven. I could run on him all day. Lamar had a field day. It really wasn't close in the trenches. So I think if he runs a 3-4, so he needs a 3-4 defensive end. That's a big difference from a 4-3 defensive end. He needs a 3-4 defensive end, and he needs an inside linebacker. The best inside linebacker he has is, I'm blanking, but I know he does not have good inside linebackers. Like he needs somebody that can sit there and clog those running lanes. You got the name for me, Nick?
Berzin, I think, is the starting middle linebacker. Miles Berzin.
Yep. Right on. Yep. See, that's, and so if he could get an upgrade there, I think that would help. If he can, because he's got the great pass D, just needs to lock down the run D in a division that has some pretty decent running backs. The Bucks in particular, who I'll talk about here, the Bucks have a great halfback. Like honestly, he's Denard Hodge is like a poor man's
Ronald Johnson.
Yeah. Oh, Ronald.
Rojo.
Yeah. He's a poor man's it's Ronald Jones. He's a poor man's Ronald Jones, dude. He's got the 93 speed, 95 acceleration, 97 agility. Like this guy's a workhorse. You could just hand him the ball and he will fly. He can bust off. He's a home run hitter. He can go at any time. You got Borland as well there, the quarterback he drafted a couple years back out of Clemson. Borland's a good quarterback. Like he can win games, and especially with a good running game that he's getting from Ronald Jones, I think that'll be good. But the biggest issue on the offense is the wide receiving core. He doesn't have a clear number one. They're all kind of just above average guys. And Marquise Goodwin, that was his deep threat and did very well this season, is getting another year older. He'll be dropping in regression as soon as the season finishes. So he might be looking at 91 speed, and then he's no longer your deep threat. So he needs another deep threat to replace Marquise Goodwin. And if he gets that, I think he's set on offense. He's got a lot of weapons, as long as you have one guy that can take the top off the defense and a quarterback that's accurate underneath, you're set.
Let me add one thing on the Bucks.
Yeah, sure thing.
Nick Z is the worst at swagging out his players in the history of the XFL. There's no competition. It's just brutal. Okay, go ahead and continue.
I appreciate that. That's so. This offseason, the goal is get more swag. That's just like in bold exclamation, underline 4 times. That's get more swag. And there is no less swag. Well, ironically, he's got Josh Norman at free safety. So, but he has all mouth, no play. The dude's got 85 speed. He's nothing. His strong safety's got 84 speed. He's nothing. Bro, he runs a Tampa 2. It's a Tampa 2. You've got to have cover 2 safeties. He's got no safeties. that have anything above 88 speed, what are you going to do? They'll just torch you deep all game. So he's got to have safeties. To me, that's the number one priority. Is the burner wide receiver is probably honestly a secondary part because Marquise Goodwin can still sort of pull that role, but he's got to get at least one safety and a good fast receiver. You got any comments? But you've played the Bucks a few times, and he's given you some games. Brent, what do you think about them?
Yeah, I mean he's just good at running the ball. It's basically the Ronald Jones show. Whether it's running or halfback screens, that's basically what he does, and then he's able to utilize the play action after he draws you in a little bit. So he's good, but his roster's not the greatest.
People forget how good Nick Z has been in the past in the XFL. Like he's one of the few guys still in here, that has a Super Bowl under his name.
True.
He's in the XFL Hall of Fame. He's got one of the highest winning percentages, although this cycle hasn't helped him much, but he knows how to win. I just think the biggest issue he hasn't addressed after trading Mike Evans. He never really went out and got another guy. It doesn't even have to be a guy to take the top out of the defense. Just he never really established a number one. So that's an issue, but go ahead and move on. We got the Saints. Those bums.
We got the Saints as the last team in the NFC South with old Brent here. So Brent, I was combing through your roster, and I've got a few things that I think would help a lot. Obviously, the halfback situation, that's rough, man. Like ever since losing Kamara, you got a pretty good haul for him. You're getting that run clogging defensive tackle, but in Kenny Clark, but there really hasn't been an answer there. You've had the 85 speed Rashad Poyer, same archetype as the Jets, honestly, the exact same type of guy. So for me, I think you've got to get a halfback that's faster or a power back, something. But like the fact that he's supposed to be like sort of, because the receiving back's like an elusive back with the catching ability. So he's not elusive. He's just kind of there. I mean, that's a tough situation. If you could get some kind of beast halfback,
just kind of there.
Yeah, he just shows up and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm here," and they're like, "Ah, shit." But Brent,
all right, hold on. I'm gonna defend him a little bit because he only ever plays 12 games a year, and he's always up near 1,000 yards whenever he does, and he gets the receiving yards too. Check those touchdowns on the only full season he's played. 4 passing touchdowns, 9 rushing touchdowns, and a total of 1,500 yards between the two.
Oh yeah, you're definitely making it work with him. I
would agree.
If he stayed healthy, he would put up some really good numbers.
Yes, but the point is here, I used to run back in high school, man. Like the way it was we'd always joke. You'd have the fat guy that would sit there and run these crazy times, and you're like, bro, you're eating a McDonald's and stuff. How are you running these sub 17 times in a 5K? And he'd be like, it's whatever. But the point is, imagine how much better he'd be if he didn't eat the freaking McDonald's. Your halfback is McDonald's, bro. Like you've got to get somebody that's faster, because imagine how much better you'd be. That's my point on that. And to put a pin and boom, done. Drop the mic on the halfback. Anyway, tight end is another issue, dude. Like I think if you could have a good tight end that can bust up the seams in the middle of the field, you'd be set. Ever since Jimmy Graham left the Saints, I don't think you've had that real big possession threat that'll go there on the goal line and catch those tough passes. And then the last thing I've got is the stud linebacker. And you mentioned earlier your strategy that you've seen this cycle has been fast. As long as they're fast, you're set. And I would disagree. I've seen where awareness can really help in certain clutch situations. Guys like CJ Mosley, for me, have really come through in important situations. You rely a lot on your secondary, but if you could add one guy to the mix that's like just a straight beast, I think you'd be set. So if you could get, maybe one of those three, I doubt, with the amount of resources you have, I doubt you're going to be able to go for all three. But if you could get one, I think you'd improve your team a lot. What are your thoughts on that?
I have 0 resources, are my thought.
Okay.
I traded big away last season. I have a 4th round pick. That's my highest pick this draft.
Nice. Well, even a 4th round pick should be able to have faster than 85 speed. Am I right?
We're gonna see. I'll probably get myself a couple seconds this draft. And
okay, so we got some moves on the horizon, huh?
Adrian Torrance had a year for you though.
Okay, let's talk. If you want to talk about something that I'm pissed off about, this guy, after 12 weeks, was like second in the league in sacks, and he gets a 4-week injury. Just enough to ruin his season because you don't go up a dev trait.
Yeah.
Or unless, because I'll show you here.
Wait, Torrance did go up a dev trait.
No, Torrance is he's quick still, I believe.
If you go to progression history, I'm looking at now. It says Pro Bowl appearance and development trait increased. D-line of the year. Scroll all the way down.
Anyways, he had defensive rookie of the year too. Locked up. He was ahead of Jack's guy for 3 of the injury weeks. And then the 4th week that he was injured, Jack passed him.
That would be my fault. I threw Jack's guy 3 interceptions.
Thank you.
Dun.
You cost Adrian Torrance probably another 2 or 3 upgrades. Defensive rookie of the year, superstar.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that Nick loses a lot of sleep over that, Brent. I'm sure every night he's like, "Damn, I lost in that development trait for Adrian Torrance."
Forget Adrian Torrance. He's a bum.
Oh.
Well, he's a good player. Yeah, I know that. No, that's a good. And after trading Davenport too, to have him just pop in is, awesome. But you're one of the few teams with having 3 guys with double-digit sacks. Roberts, Dawsey, and Torrance both. Yeah, it's an impressive feat. But what divisions we have left? We have NFC North and NFC
West. So I was thinking,
God,
I have the NFC North notes, but the NFC West. Do you want to save the NFC West for last? Because man, they're a fiery division. They got a lot of rivalry.
Yes, I made notes for them, and I want to do them last.
All right. So Nick, I just grilled Brent. You're next on the chopping block, my friend.
Let's do it.
The trenches. What are you doing? We've got offensive line. The best offensive lineman you have is like what, a 76 overall, and I think I'm being generous. Like, dude.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The trenches are probably, I'd say, the biggest issue with your team. Like the edge rushers, great, but the interior defensive linemen, ever since losing Kenny Clark, since trading away, not losing because you got a lot of return for him in Alvin Kamara, who you also flipped for a bunch of value, but also the big guy, big old 6'1" dude, missed the little run clogger guy you had too. You traded him away too. I'm spacing on the name, but
I traded all my defensive.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody talented on that interior defensive line, they're gone. But so I think that if that'll really, and again, you've built your team to stop the pass, but just one thing, just getting one really good block shedding defensive lineman inside would help a ton. Getting somebody like that, as well as speed at linebacker. Really, dude, your roster on the whole. I mean, Brent's got it pulled up right now.
Whoa. My freaking middle linebacker's 88 speed, 89 excel.
Which freaking middle line? Oh yeah,
both
that's a
of
fast
them.
guy.
And then my other guy's 80 speed, but 90.
Yeah,
excel.
80 speed, exactly, 80 speed.
But 90 excel.
All right.
No, I agree though about the defensive tackle thing. Tamario Boyd and Margarito Meyer both. No, but I don't rely on them to come up with. I don't know.
With the
that's the way my defense is always run.
Yeah, you got David on your mother still.
Yeah, but I don't play him. He's a bum. But no, but I mean that's a fair assumption though. I rely on my secondary, my outside pass rushers to win me games. If you want to run up the gut, go for it. I'll give you the 4 and 5 yards. Just wait for you to throw an interception, kind of thing.
Absolutely. And the last thing I got is, dude, I in 1,000 years would never, ever, 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 with 14 evers, trade Aaron Rodgers. This guy is playing the best football of his career.
He's retiring.
He's gone. Brent's got the hot take already. He's gone. All right, send it to the bank, boys. Yeah, I love this guy. I mean, ageless wonder. And it's funny because right now Brent's actually pulled up Barry Brooks. I was like, man, I love Aaron Rodgers, and he pulls up Barry Brooks, and I would agree. Barry Brooks
definitely interested in Aaron Rodgers.
He definitely brings a lot of fire, and I think that because he has such good receiving threats, Aaron Rodgers could go and play till he's 45, just like Tom Brady probably will.
Real quick, Brian says in the chat, Nathan Fry, my slow, in quotation marks, this is what Regan said, middle linebacker, ran step for step with Philly Brown in the Super Bowl and jumped over his back and swatted the ball. It was stupid. But hey, that's all good. Barry Brooks. What were we saying about Barry Brooks? No, I'm just kidding. We can go ahead and move on though. Let's go ahead and move.
Yeah,
I'd rather other people.
You got okay. Well, we do have your favorite rival, old Tosh. Tosh has got a decent roster from head to toe. Well, from everything below head, and then like everything pretty much below head. He's got a pretty good roster. The only thing that I would say below the head is nickelback. He needs a nickelback. He needs somebody kind of a gadget type of player in the secondary, somebody that can go in and play, because he's got a decent number 1 and number 2 guy, but that third nickel corner is so important in today's XCFL because of all the 3 wide receiver formations. That's always going to be a necessity in Madden. So I think if he could get a guy like that, that would help a lot. But the head of his entire team is the quarterback. And at best, on a good day, Tyrod Taylor is average. He's not average in athleticism, but in arm talent, he's average at best. So my question is, yeah, you can keep going with Tyrod Taylor. I think he'll take you places. You'll be fine. But what is he missing out on by getting a quarterback that will always hit that deep ball, that never misses his great wide receiver that he drafted this year? The rookie, Lambert, dude. Lambert had an insane season, but imagine always hitting him, being able to put it in those tight windows. I could see Tosh. Here's a great one. Tosh making a play for a guy like Hepatitis B, or even Josh Allen, man. Imagine Josh Allen with Hanson Lambert. Lambert would be insanely good with him as his quarterback. So like. That's kind of what I would like to see in Chicago. Better quarterback, and then of course that kind of gadget player in the secondary.
But can you move on from Tyler Taylor after NFC Offensive Player of the Year? He beat out Aaron Rodgers, and bro, I mean he won. I don't know if it's. Can you justify it?
I would argue that's probably not because of Tyrod Taylor's talent. To me, that's the skill of the user, manipulating a very tough situation, as well as the receivers. He's got good receivers to throw to. I think his receivers made Tyrod Taylor look a whole lot better than Tyrod Taylor actually is.
What about
VBD says yes, you can move on from just playoff game. Oh,
oof, too soon.
Oh, wow, yeah. How about Roquan though? Would you consider moving Roquan to get one of those top edge quarterbacks?
No.
No?
I wouldn't. I think what a stud middle linebacker brings to your defense, especially when they can play in pass coverage, is almost more important than.
What do you think they're trading then? Because he has
that's what I was going to say. I don't think he can. I don't think he has the stuff to move to go get Josh Allen or Hepner or anything.
Right, because I'm looking right now, and it's either Roquan or it's Allen Agnew. Other than that, I'm telling him to go pound sand if I'm Chad.
Yeah, for sure. I would say maybe a halfback though, because he's got 2 pretty good backs in Howard and Cohen. Cohen's pretty fast too. I could see Cohen going, man. Like that would be a pretty good, not as the centerpiece, but as maybe that and a first, or that and a second and a first next year, or something like that. But now's the time he needs to go ahead and make a big move. Because I think after this loss in the playoffs to Jack pretty handily, I think he's going to have to make moves. I think that he is not going to be satisfied with how his roster performed, putting up only 3 points. He's going to make moves this offseason, man. I'm calling it right now. But with that, I think that pretty much wraps up Tosh. Let's go ahead and move on to Sparty and the Lions. The Lions and Sparty. Sparty's a fun user, man. Like he's one of the few guys that Nick has said, yeah, dude, like he's locked me up. Like he's figured out my stuff. Like that's impressive to me. Like I like Sparty. I think he's had a few rough games with Nick. Nick's kind of like had to adjust, and I think he's made Nick a lot better. But
he's one of my favorite guys in this league, easily.
That's awesome.
Just the fact, he's been in my division the past 2 this cycle and last cycle, and it's just been fun. I've always had a good experience playing against him, and he does. He struggled this year, especially. I mean, it's a tough division with me and Tosh playing in it, but
it's also a tough roster.
It is a tough roster to start with, but I like what he's doing with that rookie runner, or that he had.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I think that his everything on offense is pretty well set. I mean, he's got a decent offense around. He's also got a decent quarterback too. He's pretty much set, but like the wide receiver position is definitely where he's not set. The Lions have not had a solid number one wide receiver since good
The
old Calvin
GOAT.
Johnson. Yeah, dude. Like that is the biggest issue for him right now. If he can solve that, again, like I feel like I've said this 1,000 times and I'm a broken record. I needed a wide receiver one, but like, dude, a wide receiver one would help Sparty immensely on offense. And then on defense, interior defensive line, because guess what? It's funny. It sucks being in the NFC North because you've got the team that runs the ball the best in Tosh, and you have the team that passes the ball the best in Nick. So you can't just have a great run defense or a great pass defense. You have to have both. So the biggest issue is he's got to have an interior defensive lineman to stop the run against Tosh and even against Nick, because Nick will throw some runs at you and really get you off balance there. And also he needs faster safeties, because with the blazing speed, because it used to just be Nick in there, and even the Vikings with DJ Moore. But with Tosh getting Lambert, man, like there's just so much speed in the NFC North. You got to have faster safeties now. Like
he made an interesting play right off the bat this cycle of going and getting Desmond Trufant from the Falcons and Bouye from the Jags.
Exactly, and his corners are set.
Darius Slay. Yeah, and he after he made those trades, he messaged me and said, "This is to stop Barry Brooks." And it was definitely a great shot. He gave up a lot right off the bat for these older corners, and they just haven't really done enough for him, I want to say.
Well, it's tough because Trufant's regressing. He's at 90 speed now. Bouye is doing the same. He's at 88 speed. That's not gonna stop Barry Brooks, Lambert, and DJ Moore. Those guys, you've got to get speed. And I know those corners are fine because they'll pick those. They'll probably play like in a cover 2 man. They'll play underneath the route. But you've got to have those deep safeties that can run stride for stride with them if that's the way you choose to build your defense. So that's what I'm going to say about Sparty. Do you have anything to add?
Let me add one thing here, just because I've played him and watched a lot of his games. Yeah. His biggest issue outside of everything is red zone offense. He 31 interceptions for that Wale, whatever his name is, Morgan Whale, he gets down there, has these 5-6 minute drives that would make Boone go to sleep, and they make me mad too. But and then he gets down there and he throws a pick, or his running back. It's just he puts up good yardage, and his running back only had 3 rushing touchdowns. It's just he can't get in the end zone in the red zone, and it's tough in this league. But I think if he can get that, he could win a lot more games. And he did put a couple together towards the end of the year, so even won Brenna Survivor Week, which was big.
Yeah. I hate those drives. I could have just kicked nuts week 17. All the records, and not records, but all the statistics to get your guys up a thing. Yeah. They're all on the line in week 17. Regan comes out with a friggin' 12-run drive, doesn't pass even once on the first drive, and I just could have punched him right in the face. I'm like, this is the kind of game we're playing week 17? All right.
Just set your controller down and let it go.
For real. It was, he got me back though, because he went on a freaking 20-play death march to close the game. I don't even want to hear it, Brent. I don't want to hear it.
Hey man, you started that. I adapt, as you know. Ask Nick. I'll go 50-50 with you. I'll go 10-3 with you.
Yep. Best adapter in the XCFL. I will say that hands down. But a guy that we got to look at here, Bracket, one of our newer users.
Yeah.
And just like with the Lions, their I wrote secondary and put about 15 exclamation points beside it, as well as an inside linebacker. Bro, he's got a great front 7 aside from one position where his best guy is 71 overall. Kenny Young. Kenny Young used to be my third linebacker, or fourth. I mean, he's not starter caliber. I mean, he's decent at sub linebacker, but as like a second sub linebacker, not the first. And so that inside linebacker position is really rough. Linebackers are really important in stopping the run this year. So against Tosh, he's got to have an inside linebacker replacement. But secondary, nothing. Like playing against Tosh and you've got to have a good secondary. And I don't even think none of his corners, none of his free safeties. Like I was just underwhelmed by it all. I was like, man, I usually try to narrow it down to one position, like corner or safety. But man, like if there are good and there's a Heisman winning corner here in this year's draft. He's got to target somebody like that, a guy that can come in and lock down a Barry Brooks, lock down a Lambert. That is so important, or even a safety, a ball
All
hawking
right,
safety.
so what do we think here then? If Norman Bueller's on the trade block, which I think it's insane to trade him.
I agree completely. Yep.
But I do think I think the Vikings have a very rough situation roster wise, and it's not his fault. And if you're trying to bring in the most, stuff to fix it, Bueller's the piece to trade, but that creates a gigantic hole at quarterback.
Yep, and that was actually in my notes. As I said, quarterback replacement ? And then I put a note that said keep Norm. Like Norman's got to stay because I know you've got that urge. You want to make moves. You're coming into a dumpster fire in the secondary, and you're not winning a lot of games because you're in a really tough division. But you got to keep that piece. That's a guy you got to resist the temptation. He is going to be a great piece with that 97 throw power and star development at age 25. Like he's the centerpiece of your offense going forward. He's got a guy like DJ Moore. He makes DJ Moore valuable because of his DJ Moore speed. You can now lob it up over the top. So in my opinion, you keep him, and it sounds like you're in agreement, Nick.
Blow it up.
What do you think, Brent?
But Bueller. The good thing about Bueller is that in your first 2 years, you can't lose Dev. Still a star Dev.
Here's what I'd trade Bueller. I would trade DJ Moore.
Wow.
He's already got, what does he have? The first overall pick, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Who's in second? Who's got the second overall?
I will say I do have a bit of breaking news regarding the Vikings.
What? Who's got the second overall pick? Because that's what I want.
It's probably a coin flip between a few teams. This is a bad year to have a bad record.
Well, I'm going for the second overall pick if I'm him, and I'm offering Bueller and DJ Moore. And I want the second overall pick as well as 2 seconds from someone. And I think that's a pretty fair deal. Like
49ers or Steelers.
For those guys?
It is the 49ers. The 49ers have the second overall.
Because they're only going to get one guy from that pick. So you go ahead and get 2 guys. You get your fast receiver and your quarterback if you're that guy. And then if you're him and you have the first and second pick, those Vikings, man, that roster's dead in the water. He has to restart.
All right, so how about this?
2 guys.
How about this?
Sure. Lay it on me.
He currently has your first round pick, so he can't trade for a second one.
Right, that's true.
Which sucks. But he did just propose a trade was just sent into the trade committee.
Oh dear.
The Vikings and the Cincinnati Bengals. The Vikings send this year's first overall pick to the Bengals for the fourth overall pick, a second rounder this year, and a future 4th rounder. It has not been approved or declined yet, but that offer is on the table.
Oh no, that's a huge deal. That's a huge deal, in my opinion, for the Bengals. I love that move.
Yeah, but there's no way, man. Like, oh my God. He'll get 2 firsts, or he'll get like a first, another first on top of that, and a second to move up 3 spots from most guys. He's got to shop that better.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens, but that trade is submitted. But I think the Bengals are making their move to go get a quarterback.
I think that's why they moved there. It's a beautiful move. I love it. Like, or for the Bengals, I love it. But that's a tough one. I would see, and that's where I would disagree because the secondary is so bad. I don't think he can contend on defense. So you either go all in, say screw offense, we're not going to score any points, because he does have a great running back. You can't forget that. But what's his name? Damn, late at night I get really bad with names. But it's Dalvin Cook from Florida State. He's got Dalvin Cook, so he can still run the football. Good offensive line, so he can still run the ball. I'm kind of leaning towards you, Brent. I could agree with that because he can run the ball, and if he goes all in and plays defense, but he's got to like nail those picks. And to me, that's tough. If you trust yourself in drafting, go for it. But man, I don't know.
You can't miss 1 and 2, man.
All right, well let's move on.
It's possible.
Let's move on to the NFC West.
Oh, the NFC West.
Let's go to the NFC West here.
Classic.
Do you wanna?
Yeah. Oh, I'm happy to. Okay. So not that I have amazing stuff. Well, first of all, let's start with the Cardinals. Full rebuild. Get rid of everything. Garbage fucking roster. Oh my God, what the hell happened here? Rec is a good user. He's constantly either 8-8 and just missing the playoffs, or like making a run at it. How is this? They have no 90s on the whole thing, and then their top 5 guys are all 30 years old. There's nothing you can do with this. So if I'm Rec, I am going full rebuild. I'm trading Josh Rosen. I need to get a top 10 back for him. Give me a top 10 pick for Rosen, as well as whatever pick he has, probably the worst possible pick without making the playoffs. And then I'm going to try and package the 20th or whatever it is that he has with David Johnson. And I'm going to try and move that up higher too. So I'm going to shoot for like 2 picks around the 8 to 12 range. And I'm going to try and nail both of those and just start my rebuild from there.
He does have an advantage. As a good user, he can get up
Hey,
into
wait,
that top 10.
hold on. If you look at Brent's Twitch chat, not the YouTube chat, some random dude commented in his chat room and said, "Cool name and great content, homie. Just keep grinding. I hit you with the follow, and maybe you could do the same. Maybe we could play together sometime and show support on another stream. Have a good day and stay positive. Heart emoji." Okay, go ahead.
Stop it. That just happened?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm gonna
hot.
put it.
Sounds like Brent has a secret admirer, like a.
Oh, that's pretty funny. That's on my Twitch, or what's that on?
That's on your Twitch chat. So some random dude found it.
Dude, somebody's roster baiting over our league right now.
So what's he? Is he listening to us somehow over my Twitch?
No, he's just watching your Twitch stream of staring at rosters.
Yeah.
And you think that's good content?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Oh,
Anyways.
well, maybe he was on like the YouTube feed and then went to find. Nah, dude, I give up. I have no idea.
Nope.
I tried
Nope.
really. I was like, wait, maybe no.
Well, I saw that follow actually, and I just assumed it was one of the watching my playoff game or something. Like
Eagle says, "Wow, Brent picking up local singles," and Brian says, "Brent sounds like he's blushing."
Oh
Yeah,
God.
absolutely. I'm a celebrity.
Canadians, man. All right, go ahead.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Okay, so then next let's go to the 49ers. I actually really like this roster. We've had such well, I guess we only had one turnover really in the 49ers, but
Yeah, he knocked himself out, if you know what I mean. He literally left without even telling anybody.
He did. So
Yeah.
anyways, the 49ers, they have quite a few good players, man. That defense is ready to go with Buckner, Thomas, and Reuben Foster, all 94 plus. Dawson, their defensive tackles, a 91. So maybe they need to get a cornerback. I could see. I mean, they have this Simonette guy, but he's a little bit slow. So I'd probably draft with this upcoming draft. They already got Garoppolo. Second over, probably trying to get Brooks or someone. And then what I'm going to do after that is go into free agency and spend every dollar I have on other offensive pieces.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite a bit. I think he probably $30 million. So if you do that, he should be set, man. I mean, with that D, you add a corner in free agency, add a few more like offensive linemen, and then go get a receiver draft. And I actually got it a good year.
You got a legit weapon with Greg Kittle at tight end too, with the 87 speed, 88 excel.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then Dante Pettis is like, if you look around at other leagues, I know I do on Twitter, but Dante Pettis is like one of the most coveted receivers in all of other leagues, on all other CFMs. And he just really had, 86 overall, but he really hasn't had any breakout seasons in our league. I don't know, but he's put up massive numbers in other leagues at least. But that's neither here nor there, I guess.
See, Brent, I'm going to bring back an interesting point you made when we were talking about the Vikings. If you're the 49ers, do you make a play for DJ Moore? What are you willing to give up? Because obviously the answer is yes, but what do you give up? Really?
Like, you're going to want more. You want more. Like, I'm not saying for just that. I probably want Bueller, too. I'll probably try and move Garoppolo at that point. See what I can get for him, whatever. If it's 2 seconds, fine. And then I want Bueller and more. And I'm going to trade that second pick for sure.
Damn.
Bueller and more for a second-round pick?
No, for the second overall.
Because the biggest thing with Garoppolo is he has no deep accuracy. He's got 94 throw power, but 78 deep accuracy. And for an 85 overall quarterback, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, but we got some users who never throw the ball more than 20 yards, according to everyone. So it'd be a perfect fit.
But with DJ Moore, that would change things. Brent,
Oh,
the
I'm not
match-
talking about the
Brent's
49ers.
the-
I'm talking about one of these many crossers people that we have that only throw the drag.
Oh.
Perfect for him.
All
Brent's
right,
like the
let's.
XCFL version of Cupid. He's making matches up in here. He's like, hey guys, you should probably get together. And
So
make
let's
a
go
trade."
across the lake, across the pond there. Actually, it's probably more of like a Darth Vader accent if anyone knows it. So we'll go to Air V. He's actually got a great roster, man. This is, when you look at it, it's awesome. He's got 297s in John Johnson 3, which figure that one out. But and then
John
Todd
Johnson.
Gurley, man. Everyone, both of his best players are seniors. So that's pretty cool that he's got those little eyes going on after it. So I would probably only try and draft guys in the future with those. Look pretty dope. And then he's got Cooks and Greer, who are both speed guys. Kuechly, Joyner, Marcus Peters. Like, he's really got a lot of talent. Jared Goff's a great QB. He's got a lot of throw power. I would try and use this first-round pick to get maybe a faster corner, because I'm assuming Marcus Peters has to be slowing down now.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think he's pretty set. I would maybe spend – I doubt he has much money with this roster, but $28 million. So I would probably try and get like one or two free agents.
Well, quick note:
and then
this
that
is
first round pick on a corner.
This is the year that he gets the bulk of the benefits from that Aaron Donald deal. He's got he's got 3rd overall, 8 overall, and he has the Pittsburgh pick at 35 and 40. 40 is his pick.
No,
So
Air
he's got-
V's.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
he's loaded.
2
He's got 2
seconds
early
and 2
firsts and
top
2
10
early
picks?
seconds. Yep. Yeah, he's loaded.
And on top of that, he's got this awesome roster. Wow, Air V's my pick for winning this division for sure after seeing this. Yeah, I would go and get probably 2 cornerbacks if I was him, 2 fast ones.
Yep.
And I'd go from there. Maybe a pass rusher if there's a beast one up there. Definitely want 2 defensive players if I'm him, though.
He got a nice haul from Pittsburgh because at that time Pittsburgh looked to be like a winning team, so like they might have been way first. But man, with the amount of turnover and with how the last season went down, man, that's a huge benefit. That's a huge haul.
Patience is a virtue, and AirV was patient, and now those picks are gonna hopefully reward him.
You would think they will. I don't see how they can't. 2 top 10 picks. They're going to pay off. He's a good drafter. I have faith. He'll get 2 good ones.
Very true.
So the last one here is Violent, and I really like his roster too. I think he's roll run. He's got speed in the right positions. Got all the talent players. I think he's absolutely insane for trading Russell Wilson. I know he likes Saquon, but come on, man. Like,
I don't know though.
Who's going to be throwing the ball? I guess there's all these quarterbacks available, so
he'll probably go snag one. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you go get one of them, but
you're only. I don't running back. Running back's not a need, which is my only concern.
Right, that's it. Right? Like, he has Mixon, so why would you trade one of the top 3 to 5 QBs in the league?
It all depends what he gets back for Mixon, obviously, because he's not keeping Barkley and Mixon.
Well, you never know. I mean, neck brace does.
Neck brace is in a whole other world.
Right. Well, and the only thing he could use is probably like a top receiver. I know John Ross. Yeah, whatever. He's not. He's an over the top guy. He takes the top off the D. I think he needs a good possession kind of guy, like Michael Thomas. Maybe give 2 first rounders for Michael Thomas. That would probably just set your roster up for the future.
Well, I would also say corner. Corner is a big deal because in this league, and since he is a playoff contender. In the playoffs, you're going to meet guys with crazy fast wide receivers like, Barry Brooks. You've got also the Falcons, so his fastest corner and his best corner is Stephon Gilmore, a 32-year-old with 92 speed. And then everybody else is like 88, 90. That's trash. You got to have somebody that's got a relative amount of speed there because if he's got that kind of guy that can lock him down, because like you said, actually, ironically, we had this exact same conversation today. Whenever he lost to Nick, how Gilmore got absolutely mossed by Barry Brooks. If he gets a good shutdown corner, I think that completely turns around his defense because that might be the biggest hole in his roster.
Absolutely. I'd focus on getting Michael Thomas. But
do you what about moving Minkah Fitzpatrick to corner?
Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah.
96 zone, 92 man, 90 speed, 95 excel.
I would love that.
You'd,
Yeah.
you'd have to go get it.
And then
You'd
move
still have to go
Gilmore
to
maybe to
safety.
free safety. Like literally
Yeah,
flip
and
those two and you're
It
set.
could be, or
No,
at
no.
least
Gilmore's 92, man. Like we're selling him short right now. He's not.
No, but regression hasn't hit yet. Regression hits at the end of the year, so like we haven't even seen him
I like
drop yet
Gilmore. I like
It
Gilmore's
hits when
good.
you're eliminated, I believe.
No, it all hits after
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
after Super
Oh,
Bowl.
no.
So we haven't. So all these guys, like that's why with
Brent says,
Marquise
"Oh, no."
Goodwin for the oh Lord,
No, Bucks.
Yeah, the Bucks exactly. We haven't even seen how much he's going to drop because if he doesn't drop at all, which is unlikely, I mean he might need a speed threat. So it's teams like
Yeah.
that are really gonna.
Well,
That's the
We still got
regression is going
Earl.
to be important.
Earl
Yeah.
can play safety.
Wait,
I
where the
don't know
hell is
about
Earl?
that.
Earl's there?
Yeah,
Earl might be going up for defensive tackle.
Dude, 86 speed, 91 excel. He's almost as fast as HaHa Clinton Dix. And I play HaHa at deep safety.
Yeah, I guess
I
so.
don't know. I'd think about moving. We shouldn't even tell him this because I don't want Minka at corner. To be
I don't
honest,
know. His zone is kind of trash. I mean, he doesn't have great coverage, so I don't think he'd break on the ball well. 86 isn't bad if they're breaking on the ball like immediately with that great
78
zone
zone.
coverage. Yeah, so that's tough. That's kind of an issue.
Yeah,
but-
he's a good linebacker or sub LB then still.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
All
I
right, guys.
believe-
I think
holy
that's
cow.
it. I think we're done.
I
Oh yeah,
believe
Thanks for listening,
so.
guys.
that was fun.
Yeah.
We're yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. It really. Sorry that was a long one, but we do want to everybody. Everyone likes to hear their own team name called, so that's good. We were able to get that in there. Other than that, we got what four teams left for playoffs here. So, 3, I guess, because the Bears are gone. But should be a fun finish up for season 20, and then we'll get right into the season 21 off season. We'll get that schedule posted as soon as we get an idea of when everything's going down. But thanks for tuning in, and we are out of here. See you, fellas.